Hey guys, it's Cece, and today I'm going to be talking about my hair. This is going to be kind of a rambly one where I talk about a lot of different things that are all related back to my hair and my relationship to it, how it's connected to my sexuality, all of that kind of stuff, so settle in, it's gonna be kind of a weird one, but this is something that almost as soon as I cut all my hair off, I wanted to talk about more in a video. So I guess the first thing I need to talk about is that I've always had a very strained relationship with my hair. Like, for my whole life, it has been a point of anxiety for me. It's almost always been short, which is a thing. I don't know how many people have that experience, but ever since I was really, really little, it has been very short, and the longest it's ever been in my life, I think, was from ages 7 to 10, when I grew it out a little bit. Maybe I'll find a picture to show you, but when I was 7, it was like maybe down to here, and when I was 10, it went a little bit behind my back. But that's the longest it has ever been. As far as the anxieties around it, though, the thing is that I have always had a lot of insecurities in regards to the way I look, which I know is not a unique experience, but I'm gonna talk about my personal experience. The thing with my hair has been that I have always had this intense feeling that I cannot leave my house, I cannot go outside if my hair doesn't look perfect, which has led to a lot of time getting ready, taking longer than everyone else, just in an attempt to make myself feel like if I go outside, the world won't end. This is true in high school, it was absolutely very, very true in college. Regardless of the length of my hair over those, 7 years, it has always been about the fact that if I leave and my hair looks bad, something terrible is going to happen. It makes me more self-conscious, it makes me unable to be a part of the things that are going on around me, and I have always hated that, but it's also felt like it's something I don't have a lot of control over. I just know that if I try to leave, I'm going to be incredibly more anxious for the entire day if I haven't done my hair perfectly. I think, by the way, that this led to a lot of damage in my hair because it meant that I was not washing it every day, but certainly getting it wet and blow drying it every single day. But I would wake up every single day, have to start from scratch. Sometimes I would spend half an hour to 45 minutes working on my hair, and then when I was finished, I would feel like crying because there were just things about it that I couldn't fix and I didn't have time to fix them. It's been a long process of feeling like that every single morning. And the other thing I wanted to talk about in regards to the anxieties and my hair is my relationship to my sexuality, which I think is very, very tied into how I look. Changing the way I look has been incredibly connected to my slow acceptance of the fact that I am a lesbian. So like I said, I've pretty much always had short hair, and this was true in high school as well. I had a pixie cut in high school, but as much as I wanted to love that pixie cut, I think it caused me more anxiety than any other haircut I've had in my entire life. And this is mostly because in high school, I had a lot of anxiety around dressing in or looking a particularly femme way. And at the time, I don't know why I had that particular compulsion. I didn't have any idea at that time that I might be queer, but it was this very intense need to look femme that my hair didn't match, and so I overcompensated constantly, and I had a lot of anxiety attacks surrounding it. One in particular was when I was taking a picture, I think it was my senior year of high school when I was still doing dance, and I had like 1.5 inch hair. I styled it, and I did layers and layers of makeup so that I could go and get pictures taken for my dance studio. And while I was at the dance studio, while I was prepping, I just started sobbing. And as much as my mom tried to calm me down, she really couldn't. She kept getting me to talk, and finally she asked me what it was specifically that was upsetting me, and all I could think to say was, I don't feel pretty. I feel boyish. I'm talking so much makeup, so much eyeliner, especially that I wore in high school. I did all the way around the eyes. It was probably not a good look, but I looked really feminine, but the hair was causing me so many problems. It changed a lot of colors, and that helped maybe, but also it was connected to how I was dressing, which was more and more femme. I used to wear dresses all the time, which is a weird thing to think about because now I have 2 dresses in the back of my closet and they are for emergency use only. But even in college, even in the history of this channel and lookbooks that I've done, there are videos where I'm wearing skirts and dresses pretty frequently. because I felt like I had to. And like in high school, I wore a lot of lace. I wore heels to school every single day. And I like to claim it's because I'm short, but honestly, I don't feel that uncomfortable regarding my height. I'm not even 5 feet tall. I don't know if you know that. I'm very small. But me wearing heels has never really been connected to a need to be taller. It's been connected to a need to be more feminine looking, and that was so true in high school that seriously I did not wear flats, like, ever. So let's cut to me accepting my sexuality more in college. I think regardless of whether or not you are figuring out your sexuality in college, college is a time to reinvent yourself, to reinvent your style, and that's very much what I was doing after having so many issues growing up. I grew up Mormon, and there are a lot of rules and regulations within the Mormon church about how women should dress and how women should dress modestly, which led me to have a lot of self-consciousness issues regarding the things that I'd been told I had to cover up my whole life. So I hated my shoulders, I hated my legs, I especially hated my stomach, which took me years to get over. But college gave me this time to kind of expand what I wanted to do, and I started very sparingly playing with a little bit less feminine clothing. To clarify, we could talk a little bit more about my style now, which is the point that I'm getting to, where I don't dress in a particularly androgynous way. I certainly haven't gone over to butch, but leaving the intense femininity behind has been one of the most freeing aspects of accepting the way I look, the way I feel about myself, my sexuality, and anxieties that I've had regarding how I look when I walk outside my door. It feels cliche to say this, and I don't in any way say that this has to be the experience for every queer girl, but starting to embrace the more stereotypical aspects of how I've seen lesbians dress on the internet was directly related to me accepting that part of my sexuality more, and also me feeling so much more powerful in the way that I was presenting myself. Wearing shirts that flattened my chest was a freeing experience. Button-downs made me feel powerful, made me feel capable. It was about that time that I also started playing with different ways of looking at my hair. I shaved one side of my head, which, looking back, has not been my favorite hairstyle, but at the time I think it was something that I desperately needed. I needed to start reading as queer to other people so that I could start reading myself as queer, if that makes any sense. I felt like if I looked the part and other people could accept that when they saw me, then maybe I could accept that as well. Now, some of you may know, if you follow me on other social media, namely Twitter and Tumblr is where I've talked about it, there have been some changes in my life recently. About a month and a half ago, some stuff in my life changed. And I also needed a way to reflect that change, because I have always reflected changes in my life with changes in how I present myself. It's why as soon as I knew my life was going to be different, I immediately made a hair appointment, and when I finally got to go in and see my hairdresser, who's been doing my hair for years, what I told her was, I need you to cut it all off. I know most of you don't think that my hair was that long before I cut it off. I mean, a difference from here to here is not that much of a difference, but it is honestly the biggest difference I have ever experienced in changing the way that I look. That whole day, the first day walking around with this hair off my neck, with these darker roots, and with a feel of having so much gone off of me, I kept wanting to cry just a little bit. It felt like such an outward expression of what I was trying to tell myself and what I was trying to tell everyone else, that I was different, that things had changed, but that I still had control over my life and that I could still feel control in the way that I look. So I don't know if I've shown you all the way around my head, but you've seen the side. I can do a turn, slow turn, slow turn. That's my haircut. The thing is, I've had an extensive amount of haircuts in my life, and every single one has felt like either growing closer to who I want to be or growing farther from who I want to be, because we've all had those haircuts where you look in the mirror afterwards and you're like, oh, this is what I have to look like for a while now. I guess I'm gonna go cry in my car about it. So let me tell you a little bit more about why I feel like this hair has given me more power over myself than I've had in a while. First of all, since we started this video talking about my hair anxieties, I should go back to those, because this has lessened everything about my hair anxiety. It is so easy And I have days where I wake up and I can just brush it and it looks exactly the way that I want it to look. And that is a feeling I'm not used to. It feels easy and simple, which is also very much what I need in my life right now. I need everything to be easy and simple because nothing in my life has been that easy and simple in the past few weeks. Also, it has helped me grow a little bit closer to accepting again that I can be less femme. Because of the last haircut I had, it was probably just my perception more than anything else, but it still wasn't the level of moving away from feminine that I wanted. This hair makes me feel like I can read to others the way that I want to be read. And, like, I started a new job. Well, not a new job. I transferred to a different Target a couple of weeks ago, and I had a coworker. While we were working together, she told me a long, extensive story about her boyfriend, the things that she'd had going up and down with her boyfriend, and when she finished her story, she looked at me and she asked a question in a particular way. As she looked at me, she asked, "So what about you? Do you have a," and then she paused, looked me in my eye, and she could say, "Do you have a significant other?" I know that doesn't feel like much, but it was exactly what I needed to hear. It was exactly what I needed to know about myself, that I was being read in a particular way that made me feel confident, that made me feel like people could see me, which is something else I've had so much anxiety over for my entire life, this need to be seen, which again I know is not just me. I know that we all kind of feel that way. She immediately knew that I was queer, that I was going to have a partner of a different gender than the one that she had just been talking about, and it was the smallest conversation, it was the smallest moment, but with everything I'd already been feeling about my hair, it already made me feel like even a million times better and stronger. My hair has made me feel less like I need to constantly have caked on makeup when I leave the house, because that's also always been a thing. I've never been willing to leave my house without a lot of makeup on, and in the past few weeks I've done it constantly. I am very frequently fresh-faced, which has been excellent for my skin, by the way. I feel confident in looking more boyish. I feel confident in waking up and letting my hair be messy and letting myself make choices in the way that I'm going to look that day. Plus, and this is not just something I've said on my own, it's a thing that's been commented to me, I think having shorter hair makes me look a little bit more mature, it makes me look older, and I think it makes me feel a little bit more my age. Looking back at that other hair, I didn't feel like I looked 23, and I feel like I look 23 now, and that's kind of another strengthening thing. I'm like, oh yeah, I look like a grown-up. I feel like a grown-up, and it's kind of powerful for me. I think that the hair goes with the way that I look with my clothing, especially with the clothing I purchased when I was feeling sad, and I was like, oh man, what do you do when you feel sad? Buy stuff! So I bought a bunch of clothes. It makes me feel, in every element of the way I look, more confident. It feels like me in a way that I haven't felt about a haircut in a very long time. And also, I just want to commend my hairdresser for getting this. When she first suggested the darker roots, I wasn't sure about it. It wasn't a style that I have 100% loved for everybody that I've seen with it, but I just kind of let her go with it, and it has also really helped my anxieties because my hair is darker, so I've always been really self-conscious about my roots as my hair is growing out. It's made me feel less like I have to go get my hair done again immediately because people know, people can see, people are judging me, which is always, always, always what my brain is doing when my hair isn't perfect. This was kind of a rambly one, but I said this on Twitter. As soon as I got my haircut, it was 2 days after I got my haircut, I immediately was like, I want to do a video talking about my hair because this is something that feels really good. It doesn't scare me anymore that there are times that I look boyish, which is exactly what terrified me about having hair this short when I was in high school. It was the constant fear that I wasn't going to look enough like a girl, and it's incredible to me that that fear has faded away so much. And, like, I know it's been 6 years since I felt that way, but it's nice to know in those 6 years that I've changed and I've grown more accepting of myself, and I've learned to forgive myself in particular ways. But yeah, I think that's kind of where we're going to wrap up with this discussion. Just that dressing in a more, like, stereotypical internet lesbian way it doesn't feel cliche to me. It doesn't feel stereotypical to me. It feels like I have regained a power over myself and my self-expression, and that's been really great. And it doesn't have to go for everyone. There is no particular way that you have to look for any sexuality or gender that you define yourself with, but looking that particular way for me has just made such an enormous difference, and I'm really, really happy about that. Okay, I hope that this was kind of an interesting video for you guys to watch. I know that this isn't the standard for what my videos are like, but I do want to have the opportunity to have more videos talking about sexuality and stuff in my life. I love talking about books, but I want to be able to branch out more, so if there is stuff that I mentioned as an aside in this video, or anything in particular you want me to do a video on, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to have more kind of fun discussions like this. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sticking with me all these years. As I'm sure you've seen my hair in so many different ways, just know that this is this is everything to me, and it makes me feel so good to be able to present myself in a way that makes me feel really confident online. Yeah, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!